I'm very, very happy to be talking to you today. I realise I'm a poor substitute for the royalty that you tried to achieve, and for many other celebrities. But as chairman of Natural England, I can deliver something which is 2,000 people who are passionate about conservation and nature and want to deliver it on the ground. So it's wonderful to be here. Today I think we're going to do something really, really marvellous. Try and launch a campaign to save 20 species from extinction and put almost another 100 on the road to recovery. And it has to be said, it couldn't come a moment too soon for many of these species. So on behalf of Natural England and the Back from the Brink Partnership, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank many of the people who are making this happen. Heartfelt thanks should go to the players of the National Lottery, the People's Postcode Lottery and the People's Postcode Trust, whose generosity has presented this great opportunity, as well as the Heritage Lottery Fund, who distribute National Lottery funding. And may I say, we're very honoured to have the chairman here today. Thank you very much for coming. We must also thank our other funders, many of whom are with us today, whose valuable contributions have made Back from the Brink possible. And I'd like to thank the Crown Estate too, for allowing us to gather in such a beautiful setting. The conservation of this magnificent park owes much to the vision and drive of its current ranger, and I've just been reading outside the long list of very distinguished rangers it has. Its current ranger is the Duke of Edinburgh. And it's been chosen because of the work done here and to celebrate the work done to try and protect our mighty oaks. It's a wonderful example of what can be achieved and a fitting inspiration of the day. I'd like to think that we're on the threshold of nothing short of a revolution in conservation. To my knowledge, never before have so many people pledged to work together to save so many of England's individual plants and animals. Despite being a small island, England has a rich diversity of plants and animals. We share this country with more than 50,000 species, 12,000 of them fungi alone. And it's quite interesting to look at the groups of species that we have which are considered to be of outstanding significance internationally. We have Atlantic ferns and mosses, we have the breeding seabirds, the wintering wildfowl, grassland and woodland fungi, and heathland insects. And about 40 of our species are endemic to this country. That is to say, they're found nowhere else in the world. The march of progress has not been kind to some of our flora and fauna. Historical records show that 492 species have become extinct in this country, most in the last 200 years. Some, like the beaver or the wolf, occurred many centuries ago and were the result of hunting for fur or controlled predation. But more recently, habitat loss has taken with it whole suites of animals, flowering plants, mosses, fungi, and lichens. We've lost nearly a quarter of our butterflies. That's a quarter of our butterflies and a quarter of our amphibians. Sadly, extinctions, of course, are not just a thing of the past. In the last 30 years, we've lost the greater mouse-eared bat, and the world's last population of Ival's sea anemone died out in the late 1980s from a lagoon near Chichester. Whenever a species disappears from the face of the earth, each one of us suffers. They're so important to us on many levels. They have, in my view, their own intrinsic life-affirming value to us, as anyone who's read Ode to a Nightingale or ever been lucky enough to hear a nightingale will understand. They're key to our understanding of nature. Through their study, we make sense of the natural world, and saving individual species has been the driving force of conservation since its earliest days. Each one, I think, is a canary in the mine, its fortunes hinting at those perhaps facing its neighbours. And every species has its own role, so that, like a brick in the dam, the overall structure of the environment is weakened each time one is lost. Wildlife also underpins vital services that we depend on. That is a healthy natural environment where our animals and plants thrive, but also provides us with clean air, clean water, productive soils for our crops, carbon storage, and flood defences, and a natural resilience to climate change, all of which we can only duplicate at a very great expense. That is why it is now the aim of the government to be the first generation to leave the environment in a better state than we found it. An aim which Natural England not only supports, but has been urging for governments to do for a long time. We're putting this support into action through our conservation strategy, Conservation 21. Its goal is to create landscapes with wildlife over a much bigger scale than before, embracing Sir John Lawton's report. We want to put people at the heart of our decisions around the natural world, and involving people is a very important part of this project. So the approach is central to the way we now work, and the Back from the Brink project, which draws on the talents of every day in a remarkable way, is a good example of what we're going to need to achieve in the future. As a society, we have a choice. Pulling threatened species back from the brink can be within our gift, but only if we act quickly enough and with enough common purpose. It can't be achieved by a single person or a single organisation, which is why I so much embrace this partnership approach. Call me old-fashioned, but I actually think we have a moral duty to do it. It is not something about natural capital, natural assets, or economic value. It is much more important than that. So it gives me great pride to say that Natural England is coming together with our charity partners in Rethinking Nature and many, many other organisations, too many to list, to achieve this vision. Today is truly a call to arms to help threatened species. We know from all our experience, the Natural England's Lost Life report in 2010, the State of Nature report last year, that despite much good work, there is still species decline. And yet, Back from the Brink can turn the tide for a significant number of our species if we really do pull together as one. To secure that change for the long term, not only do we need to collaborate more, but we need to inspire a nation to discover, value, and act for threatened species. And although he's not here today, now at least, I was delighted to hear that Trevor Dines was on BBC Breakfast this morning talking about this project, because we need people to embrace it and give us encouragement and enthusiasm and to be involved. So if we're going to succeed, we're going to have to enlist an army of volunteers, citizen scientists, and activists. They'll be able to share solutions, stories, and ideas to help support each other, becoming inspired and inspiring each other. By the way, I'm getting near the end if you're getting bored. And as I've mentioned, the scale and ambition of this project is unparalleled. We want to reach 1.3 million people, engaging 60 people, teaching more than 5,000 people new skills that will help them in the natural world. It will be a highly skilled, highly motivated task force that can achieve great things. And we should look back. There have been other projects to save species in this country, and I'm pleased to say we enjoy the fruits of their labours around us today, from red kites, from ospreys to dormice and otters. By necessity, they have focused on a single species in a single moment of time. What is exciting about this project is that it seeks to save 20 species in peril, while reviving the fortunes of 92 more, through mass action over a prolonged period. So Back from the Brink represents a marvellous opportunity to help England rediscover just how much we value our precious wildlife, particularly those species that are threatened, whether it's the Cornish parr moss, the pine marten, those like the shepherd skipper that we're going to reintroduce, or those like the willow tit that are declining across the country. Each one deserves its place in our affections and in our future. I know we can do this. Recent success stories, like the large blue butterfly, the pool frog, and the bittern, show that concerted action brings results. And with the help of everyone here today, the thousands of people we're recruiting, and the tens of thousands of people we will inspire, I firmly believe we will do it. Thank you very much indeed.